ballyhooed segment of Bigfootery and Bigfoot research and hunting, and that is stick structures. And you can see behind me, this is the one, I showed you a little bit of this in the November Bigfoot hunt, but today I'm doing it in a little more detail, a little more in depth, and as you can see, it's big enough for me to fit into easily, and as you can see from this video, that from this direction and from basically about a 240 degree radius and behind the structure, you can see where we're out in behind here, that you can't really see what's in there. It hides the structure very well, or what's inside of it. However, more important part about this Bigfoot structure, that I call it, I don't know that it is, I'm just postulating here, is that over in this direction there is a game trail that travels roughly in a line from there, extending in that direction down to where there's a waterway. There's a couple of brooks that feed into a pond. Anyhow, I've taken my camera off of the tripod, and we're going to do a little more experimenting here, exploring into the structure, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's not densely made. It's not a type of thing where one would expect to gain shelter from the elements. However, like I said, this is the back side of it. There's a stump there where this tree fell off of. Side here. I've got my pack with me. Go roundabout instead of directly in. But here's the inside. And from accidentally hitting the focus button there, you can see where here you can't really see anything from the other direction. From here you can look over that way and look over this way, have a clear view of the game trail. So, my theory dealing with the Bigfoot structures is that these are made primarily for purposes of watching the game trails, and I think they lay in wait, waiting for game to come along and chase them, which they could very easily do, based on some of the stuff that I've heard about these creatures. This is a backwards look at the structure. You can see it way over there. Zoom in a little bit. You can see that was right in there. Like I said, it's pretty well concealed. It's a good camouflage job. Most of those posts that are leaning up against it didn't come from trees that were near there, so they had to have been purposely put there. By who, I really don't know. think we'll summarize this video and my visit on this particular hunt with a little bit of discussion about stick structures and the viability of the existence of these things in the woods. We look at a couple of different things when we talk about Bigfoot, and one of the problems that we have is determining what exactly a Bigfoot is. One side of the camp says that Bigfoot is human, the other side of the camp says that Bigfoot is animal. Then we have these people that are in the middle that, you know, say he's part man, part animal, so that makes him a animal. We know something exists out there, but we don't know what it is because, you know, as you can see, there are tracks, and we see them frequently around. So something is making them, but what is making these bipedally appearing sets of tracks? And occasionally we come across these conglomerations and piles of sticks and brush and whatnot. Some of them rather elaborate, and we look at the structures and we say a Bigfoot made that. And I think a couple of points here that I want to make is that number one, if Bigfoot is of the ape family, we have to look at the apes and see what their relationship to structures are. We find that in the ape family, none of them build structures. They don't need structures. They're animals. They're used to being out in the wilderness. They have absolutely no need to build a structure. They do build, some various species will build a nest, which is basically a pile of leaves. That's not really a structure. That's just a soft space to lay down in. We see picture after picture after picture of chimpanzees and gorillas, all the other primates just simply laying down on the ground and sleeping, or hanging up in trees sleeping. But none of them have ever built a structure. So who builds structures? Well, beavers build structures, but that's only because they live underwater, more or less, and build a structure so that they can make a den. But birds also build structures. You know, so we have to look at all this and what builds structures, and then we have to look at the type of structures that are built. And I've come across several different structures here and there throughout the state of Maine. And the closer you get to a built-up community, the greater your incidence of these occurrences are going to be. Generally because it's not actually a Bigfoot that's building them. It's usually a homeless person or a hobo that does not want to live inside a built-up community. They want to live outside of the community for whatever reasons. And then we have these structures like what I went over at the beginning of the video that aren't really a structure at all, but a pile of different poles and sticks and whatnot. And my theory here is that these types of structures might be built by a Bigfoot. And again, I'm just postulating here. I don't know that this was actually built by a Bigfoot. I don't even have the ability at this point to prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that Bigfoot exists. You know, we're just reaching for a conclusion here that is unattainable. But my theory is that if Bigfoot does build a structure, it's built for purposes of concealment and not protection from the elements. And so when we come across these, there are videos that I've seen on YouTube of nicely built woodland structures that are thatched with pine boughs, and they're actually quite comfortable and cozy. But they're not big enough for somebody that's 8 foot tall, and yet people assume or jump to the conclusion that you know, it's a structure that's in the woods. It had to be built by a Bigfoot. And this isn't generally correct. There are a lot of clusters of deadfall and litter that we find through the woods.
that happen quite naturally. The one that I showed you earlier in the video is actually quite large. It's larger than most that I've seen. And it's perfectly situated so that you have in an area behind you total protection and invisibility from whatever might be coming along from your backside, but you have a perfect view of the game trail. And I think in large part this is one of the reasons why we find these structures like that. So when you come across something that looks like that, take a quick look around, see if you can find a game trail that runs in an area close to these structures. And I think you'll find that if you put all the clues together, you might have a little bit better luck finding what we search. And that's going to summarize it for today. That's it for this half hour. I've got a bunch more that I'll be bringing up at a later date. Until then, happy Squatch hunting, and have a good Christmas, everybody.